My reflection. When discernment becomes both gift and burden. I need to be honest with myself, because if I am not, I will start calling fear wisdom and control faith. I discern everything. I discern the news. I listen for manipulation, fear tactics, half-truths, and hidden motives. I discern movies and television shows, watching for what they normalize, what they glorify, and what they quietly teach. I discern music more than anything else, not just lyrics, but tone, spirit, intention, and emotional pull. I tell myself I do this because I love truth. And that is not a lie. But it is not the whole truth either. Part of me discerns because I am deeply sensitive to influence. I feel things strongly. Sounds move me. Stories stay with me. Words lodge in my mind and echo long after they are spoken. Discernment became my defense system long before I realized it became my identity. Somewhere along the way, discernment stopped being something I do and started becoming something I am. That is where I have to pause. Because biblical discernment is meant to lead me closer to God, not further into isolation. It is meant to sharpen my love for truth, not dull my joy. It is meant to guard my heart, not harden it. So am I going too far? Sometimes, yes. Not because discernment itself is wrong, but because my motivation drifts. There are moments when I am not discerning to obey God, but to feel safe. There are moments when I am not discerning to test truth, but to maintain control. There are moments when I am not discerning spirits, but reacting out of unresolved fear, distrust, or emotional overload. That is the uncomfortable truth. When I analyze everything, I rarely rest. When I filter everything, I rarely receive. When I critique everything, I struggle to simply enjoy what is good without dissecting it to death. Discernment becomes unhealthy when it replaces trust with suspicion. It becomes unbiblical when it lacks love. It becomes dangerous when it feeds pride, isolation, or a sense that I see clearly while others are blind. I have to admit that sometimes I feel spiritually superior for noticing what others do not. I would rather call that discernment than admit it is pride dressed in spiritual language. Other times, I feel exhausted. Like I cannot turn my mind off. Like if I stop discerning, something bad will get in. That is not faith. That is fear wearing scripture as armor. Biblical discernment is spirit-led, not anxiety-driven. When the Spirit leads discernment, it produces peace, clarity, humility, and love. When fear leads discernment, it produces tension, suspicion, agitation, and emotional distance. I know the difference, even when I do not want to admit it. I am learning that discernment is not meant to be constant analysis. Even Jesus withdrew. Even Jesus rested. Even Jesus attended celebrations without rebuking the room. I am allowed to enjoy beauty without interrogating it. I am allowed to listen carefully without being hypervigilant. I am allowed to trust God to guard my heart, not just my own scrutiny. That does not mean I stop discerning. It means I stop obsessing. True discernment does not demand my constant attention. It flows from abiding in God. When I am rooted, I do not have to inspect every breeze to know whether the tree will fall. The real question is not, am I discerning too much? The real question is, am I discerning from rest, or from fear? When discernment draws me closer to God, deepens compassion, increases patience, and strengthens humility, it is healthy. When it makes me tense, reactive, cynical, isolated, or spiritually exhausted, it needs to be surrendered. I do not need to discern everything to be faithful. I need to discern faithfully. That means trusting God enough to lay down the burden of constant evaluation. It means allowing joy, beauty, and creativity to exist without suspicion, while still being rooted in truth. I am not wrong for discerning deeply. That sensitivity is part of how God wired me. But I am responsible for how I steward it. Discernment is a gift. Fear is not. And I am learning, slowly, imperfectly, but sincerely, to tell the difference.